Charlotte from Delain, and thanks for watching hardrockhaven.net.
Last night was the band's first headlining show in the United States, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
How did that go?
It went very well. We were not sure how well marketed it was. We had no idea whether there were going to be 20 or 200 people, but the latter was the case. It was really good. We were in Detroit, and it was overwhelming. People were so excited, and we got such a good response. And we've been doing a couple of support shows by now. I mean, last year we've done a full-fledged tour with Camelot, and now we're on this tour with Sonata Arctica. So we've been kind of building, but still it's always exciting when it's the first time that it's your show.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people, and the people who were there were really excited. So I think it's a success. And we got another headline gig on this tour, which is in Vegas. So
Nice, very nice.
looking forward to that as well.
Was it nice having a longer set? I know you've got more time to play with in a headlining gig.
Yeah, exactly. It's like with the support tours, most of the time it's like you feel like you're just getting started, and then you have to stop. So it was very nice to kind of go through the full range of different songs and emotions before getting to say goodbye to the audience.
Well, the latest album is The Human Contradiction. How did you settle on the title?
The title was actually stolen from one of my very, very favorite works of fiction. It's this trilogy, sci-fi trilogy by Octavia E. Butler. It's called Lilith's Brood. And in the very first book, the human contradiction as a concept is explained as the fact that humans are both intelligent and hierarchic. And it is explained that this combination is, well, both a contradiction and actually the very reason that humanity doesn't work as well as it could. Because we use our intelligence to kind of serve these hierarchic instincts, and this is, in the book explained as exactly the thing that makes us pick random qualities in others and use those qualities to rank them higher or lower, and this is exactly the kind of thing that allows structures like sexism, racism, speciesism, etc., you name it, to exist. And I thought that the title was, well, within the books it was explained like very poetically, and it functioned very well in that work of fiction, but at the same time it works exactly the same in reality. And I thought it just, since on this record there is a lot of songs again about otherness and how people respond to that, I thought it would work very well as a kind of overarching concept to title together. Yeah.
Was it difficult choosing the cover photo?
Yeah, it was actually. It was. We had a lot of pretty photos, but they didn't seem to go with the whole concept of the record so much.
What were you looking for? Like a more serious?
I had like a whole extensive wish list of things that I wanted the cover to be. I wanted to have the kind of contradiction, or one of the contradictions, visible in there. In the end, we chose to kind of go for the human nature versus non-human nature. So that's why you have the branches on the right side. Also, there's this little logo on the bottom of the cover, which is, it's kind of, it's a kind of alternative yin-yang, kind of, it's supposed to refer to these binary oppositions that we make as a consequence of this, this human contradiction. But there was a whole wish list, and I also wanted to have kind of the cosmic element in there to kind of honor the roots of the title, since that was a sci-fi series. So there was actually a lot that we wanted to have in this one picture, and I must credit both the photographer and the visual designers we worked with, that they were able to put all these wishes into one
Yeah.
picture.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That edition right there has a bonus disc on it. Can you talk a little bit about the bonus tracks on disc 2, where those came from, and why they weren't on the core album?
One of them we really started writing when we were thinking about a bonus record. So we basically just wrote one extra song for the bonus record. This was Don't Let Go. The other track, Scarlet, the ballad, is a track that we were actually working to get on the actual record, but we didn't finish it in time. There was a puzzle, we didn't get it solved, and so we thought, okay, it's not making it for the record, too bad. And I really thought it was too bad because I really liked the song. But then the idea of the bonus record was on the table, and we thought, okay, well, then we have a little bit more time to work on it. And this is actually how it ended up on the bonus record. We got the time to finish it, and we're really happy about that. I'm really happy that it made it to the album, because it would have been sad if it didn't.
Stardust has a real visually commanding music video that accompanies it. Can you talk a little bit about shooting that and how that came together?
We chose to work with a company that we worked with before for actually our very first music video for Frozen. It's the same company, and we wanted to give them kind of carte blanche because it's one of those songs where, the lyrics, they have a lot of, post-humanist connotations in there. There's a lot of vague references to all kind of philosophers that I really, really like. But I also thought, when the song's called Stardust, people already kind of have this image in their head of what it's going to be. So we thought, let's just go with that visual image that people are going to have anyway. And and we gave the company carte blanche to come up with a script, and that's how we went about it.
Do you enjoy making music videos, or is it kind of a necessary evil? I know some bands don't really care for it. But
I must admit that I care more for the videos where we get to do it ourselves. Because there's always unexpected things happening when you shoot music videos where somebody else is really directing them. Just as a little example for Stardust, there were rooms that we were performing in, and in the script they were only described vaguely, and I arrived there and there was this room and there were really 50 stuffed animals, and I'm vegetarian, I'm almost vegan, and they wanted me to perform in this room full of, dead animals. I was like, this is not gonna fly. But they were creative enough rebuilding the room within some time. But I really like to have this control, I think the guys did a good job and all, but for example with We Are the Others, we worked with somebody, really together with somebody, and we had a lot of ideas and they had a lot of ideas, and we really did it together. And when the day came, I really felt like, okay, we know what is going to happen, we know what we want to happen, and I personally like that more. But yeah, as long as it makes an interesting video.
that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Late last year, there was a My Masquerade concert where I think the band encouraged people to dress up and treat it like a masquerade. Did you get a lot of participation?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was awesome. We wanted, because often you tend to spend a lot of effort on the whole visual idea of a night like that, and you want to really decorate the place. But at one point we thought, why don't we let people be part of that as well? And it was really cool. A lot of people really made an effort, and they looked awesome. And we had a photo booth, and we showed people some memories of the night. So it was really nice.
Did this album feel like you were rushed recording it, since you just come off the tour with Camelot? And what was the timeline there?
Well, we came off the tour with Camelot, and then we had this tour with Within Temptation planned in April, and so we came home in fall, and we wanted to have the album done in the spring after that. And it was, it was our own idea to do it like that. But of course, when you have a tour like that, the European tour with Within Temptation was a big thing, and we've played for huge audiences. Wembley Stadium and such, Arena Stadium. I always confuse the two, one of them. And yeah, it was rushed, but at the same time, we didn't have any of the politics and drama and label issues that we had last time. So the time that we had, we could actually just spend writing and, being engaged in that whole creative process. So on the one hand, it was rushed. On the other hand, it wasn't too rushed.
So the napalm experience has been a little bit easier.
Better,
to deal
yeah,
with?
yeah.
It's good. It's good. And we talked a little bit about the timeline. I know Sonder stayed behind on the North American tour, I think, to do some preliminary work on the record. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
What exactly was he doing?
Well, the thing is, Sonder actually, as you might have noticed, it's on our website now. We are bringing another drummer this tour as well. Yeah. Sonder has kind of taken a step back because he's got 2 kids by now, and I think back then it was just a bit much. There were pre-productions for the record going on, and then there's jobs, and then there is normal life. So and it differs for everybody in the band, whether then it's still possible to go on touring or not. And for him it was better at that point to take a step back and let Ruben stand in, and that's now kind of how the new situation is going to be. Like, Sander is still very much involved with the band, so that's why it feels a bit better for the rest of us, because it's never nice to go through lineup changes so much. But we've got a very awesome guy with Ruben who's doing the tours now, and it's good to know that Sander's not completely out of the picture.
That's good.
So yeah, that's a bit. It's a combination of all of these things. It's the music business, it's still something that it takes a lot of time, and it doesn't necessarily pay off as much as the time you spend on it. So it's it remains a challenge.
Did Sander have any hand in selecting his replacement for the tour, or did?
Well, actually, I think it really helped that last year we had this situation where he wasn't able to do the tour, and we had Ruben with us, and we didn't know back then that this was actually going to be like a future situation. But the experience on tour was actually very positive. Like, Ruben did very well. So when we thought about this being kind of a new situation, then it was actually quite natural that Ruben was. We didn't really feel like looking any further, because we already had a guy that was really good and that fit in the group, and yeah.
Well, you mentioned the album We Are the Others, and it's dedicated to the memory of Sophie Lancaster. Did you ever meet any of her family members, or? Yeah,
I met her brother. I still haven't met her mother. We have tried to make that happen a couple of times, but I think that it might happen this year. I've met her friend, the people who are working at the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, so yeah.
That was such a shocking story when that happened. What was it about that story that really struck a chord with you?
Well, I think I've been studying gender studies, and one of the things that gets me upset the most is, the aggressive and destructive ways that people respond to otherness. And with the song We Are the Others, that song was actually going into that direction, to be very specifically about that. But somehow, if you talk about these things, in general, everybody agrees, like, oh yeah, it's bad, to discriminate. But I feel like sometimes it doesn't really hurt, and it doesn't really get the message across unless you have a real person attached to it. And I heard about the story of Sophie Lancaster, and I remember how I was so really very upset and personally offended, and And I also heard about the work that the Sophie Lancaster Foundation was doing at this moment, like very valuable work. So I thought that if this is a story that we want to bring forward in the music, then it's her story that we need to tell. Because if I really feel like if that story doesn't grab you in any way, then probably no story will.
Makes sense. Well, you talked about the foundation. Can you talk a little bit about what work they do?
Well, the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, they basically, in Sophie's memory, they work, and they is her mother and a couple of her friends and a lot of volunteers as well. They work on education in schools, so they have programs where they talk about discriminations, where they talk about subcultures, but I also know that they're active in gay community and such. Basically they talk to both people who could be bullied and potential bulliers as well. Bulliers. I'm sorry, it's early. But so they that's one thing. That's education. But they also they've done a great job talking to the Manchester police, where they are trying to actually because you've got these things where some crimes are treated as hate crimes, and they kind of go into a file, and they become statistic, and people take it very seriously. And this happens when it's people who are attacked because of their ethnicity or because of their sexuality, but not so much when it comes to their kind of social subculture. But actually, especially in the UK, violence against goths and metalheads, it's a thing that's really reoccurring. But as long as people are seeing it as like individual cases, it's not really taken seriously. And what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation has done now is that they've been talking to the Manchester police, and now they are kind of marking all cases of violence against specific subculture groups as hate crimes, which is a huge thing, because I do think that the first step towards solving a problem is acknowledging the problem, and it felt like that wasn't happening before. That they were just seeing it as individual cases while it was actually a big problem. So these are some of the things they do. They talk to police, and they work on education, and I think it's very important work. Also in the broader scale, not only about subcultures, but in general. It would be good if people are not so afraid of whoever is a bit different from them.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that summary. I know that it's good to keep that information out there, so that's good. Well, you're back in the United States again. What do you enjoy the most about touring here?
Walmart, no. The thing is that when we tour in Europe, or we tour in Germany, for example, there is loads of other. If you play in Berlin, then you can be sure that at the same night there's like 6 other symphonic metal bands performing somewhere in the city, and I feel that when we play here, it feels like people are really grateful for you to come over, because they don't get the Euro metal bands like every day. So we really notice that there is always a very warm reception from the crowds, and that is, I think, one of my favorite things about touring here.
You mentioned Walmart a second ago, and I saw that you had made a recent. I saw the band made a recent trip there. Did you bring any treasures back from?
The guys have their psychedelic cat T-shirts, which are quite awesome. And the other thing is we actually kind of need it, because we get buyouts at the venues a lot, but often there's only McDonald's around, so we do need to make our veggie trips every now and then, so we get some vitamins.
That's good.
As well as
Well, this tour with Xandria and Sonata Arctica, how's it been going so far?
It's been going very well. Yeah, like I mentioned, the receptions are very warm, and yeah, we are basically having great gigs. Like the first 1-2 gigs are always a bit, we got to figure the production out, but now, yeah, we're really into it, and we just had our first headline gig, which was pretty awesome as well. So yeah, I'm just enjoying it a lot, and yeah.
Is it nice touring the U.S. with old friends, basically? Because I know that you've
Yeah,
toured
we've
with
toured
these bands
with
before.
we toured with Sonata Arctica before in 2009, and it's very nice to be on the road together again. And like Sonata is actually one of the bands that I listened to a lot before I was doing music myself. So I don't know, and that's just pretty exciting. The other day they were sound checking a song which was really like my jam for 2 years, and I was kind of fangirling.
What song was that?
Letter to Dana. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say because they might play it and want to, so I don't know when this is going online, but it was Letter to Dana.
Very nice,
Yeah.
very nice. Well, I know you mentioned the Camelot tour earlier, and a string quartet actually opened up for you guys, Eclipse. What was that like to follow essentially classical music?
That was really good because you really had kind of the build up. It's always nice to have very. I always think that it's nice to have very different bands performing. So I thought that was a really interesting package. The contrast now is a little bit less than, of course, when you have a classical string quartet, but I still think that's a very interesting package with Xandria and Sonata Arctica, because I know that a lot of people are coming for that femme metal thing in particular as well. So yeah.
Well, last bunch of questions here is kind of a rapid fire round, so I'm just going to throw them at you real fast. All have to do with the United States. Your favorite American band?
Oh my God. I've got to say probably Evanescence, because I think that they made it easier for bands in our genre to cross over.
Makes sense. Movie. Favorite American movie?
Almost Famous.
Nice pick. Cameron Crowe. Favorite American food?
Give me some American blueberries. A lot of the typical American food is like the very, like I think I mentioned, I eat vegetarian and actually like almost vegan. So a lot of the typical American diners don't really have anything for me.
It's true. Blueberries. That's interesting.
Yeah, blueberries are good here. Yeah.
Fair enough. Favorite American store? Maybe that isn't Walmart. You can say Walmart if that.
But I would just say
We've already
because it's
covered that.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever.
Where do you like to shop? You're a girl.
Well, actually, there is this. I know last year we played at Trees in Dallas, and right across the street there is a secondhand store. That has been my favorite place to shop so far in all of the United States. So.
Good to know. That's a good plug for them.
Yeah,
And,
I think it's called Episodes, but I'm not sure.
Episodes?
But I'm not sure.
The last one here. Favorite American celebrity? The actor, politician, whatever.
Oh, what's the guy's name again from House of Cards? Kevin Spacey?
Why Kevin Spacey?
Because I loved House of Cards. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah.
Good enough. I haven't seen it yet, so that's good.
Yeah, it's very good. If you like the politics, intrigues.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say to anybody who might be watching this? Fans of Delain or just...
Well, any fans are watching, thanks so much for the support, whether it's, by getting the CDs or coming to the shows or just telling your friends, or it's very much appreciated. And hope to meet you on the road one day.
Excellent. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.